Hooters, the original breastaurant in America, once seemed ready to take over the world. Now known as the Hooters 6, founders L.D. Stewart, Gil D. John Antonio, Uncle Billy Ranieri, Ed Drost, Dennis Johnson, and Ken Wimmer originally opened Hooters Restaurant in Clearwater, Florida, as a joke. No one in the group had any restaurant experience, and they were arrested for impersonating restaurateurs when they made their plans for the establishment known. The group was so sure that their business model, selling wings served by scantily clad waitresses at a sports bar, would fail, that they incorporated their endeavor on April Fool's Day in 1983. When the restaurant opened that October, the six chose to make a graveyard on the property for all of the previous restaurants that had failed in the location, expecting theirs to follow quickly. Little did they realize their restaurant would become an instant sensation. The chain, famous for its low-cut tanks with owls on them, can thank comedian Steve Martin for the brand's inspiration. Just as the restaurant was opened as a joke, the name Hooters came from a punchline in one of Martin's Saturday Night Live monologues. On May 17, 1980, he quipped, "I believe it's derogatory to refer to a woman's breasts as boobs, jugs, Winnebagos, or golden bozos, and that you should only refer to them as Hooters." The Hooters 6 found the joke so humorous that they remembered it 3 years later, believing it to be a great fit for their company's name. To match the innuendo, L.D. Stewart's wife, Juanita, sketched out an owl logo. The rest of their inspiration came from the Midwest, where most of the Hooters 6 were from. After saying they missed the neighborhood bars they were used to at home, the friends decided to recreate a place where people could gather and quench their thirst for the finer things in life. Their goal was to open a place we couldn't get kicked out of, Drost said. The mostly Midwestern founders longed for a familiar menu of their favorite meals, from a St. Petersburg restaurant's steak sandwich to buffalo chicken wings and Myrtle Beach oyster roasts. Plus, the flirty beach town vibe they loved about Clearwater. "I'd been a head waiter at a Tri-Delta sorority house for 4 years," Drost said, "so I had experience with a lot of young, wild college girls." Over 300,000 Hooters girls, past and present, have donned skimpy tank tops and nylons in the last 4 decades. It started with Plant City native Lynn Austin. The summer before Hooters opened, Ed Drost discovered Austin at a Jose Cuervo bikini contest on Clearwater Beach. Then 22, Austin had a degree from Hillsborough Community College and a job working at a telephone company in Tampa. At the suggestion of her mom, she'd recently started competing in and winning local bikini contests. "Drost convinced me that Hooters was going to be world famous," Austin said. "You know, I was going to be world famous. We were going to make a lot of money. Austin quit the phone company and agreed to model for the first billboard, but also requested a job. She started at $5 an hour, cleaning used fridges and waiting tables. Her uniform was a cream top and brown dolphin athletic shorts, the same kind some of the founders wore while running or playing softball. The Hooters 6 were convinced they were going to fail, and sure enough, the business initially struggled, resulting in waitresses walking out and Ed Drost desperately trying to attract customers in whatever way he could, including dressing up in a chicken costume. But the restaurant was saved by the 1984 Super Bowl at Tampa Stadium. The match between the Los Angeles Raiders and the Washington Redskins drew quite the crowd, with the Raiders taking the win. It ended up also being a win for the Hooters 6, with John Riggins, Washington's star fullback, stopping by for a bite post-match. After returning with his teammates, it attracted mass attention and wait times skyrocketed to as high as 3 hours. During the rare slow moments, the Hooters girls would hula hoop and dance. Austin and her friends often arrived straight from the beach, smelling of sunscreen. Try to pull on pantyhose with sand all over you, Austin said. It was everything you would think of in, like, a 1980s movie with a Jimmy Buffett soundtrack. By the end of 1984, the Hooters 6 sold the rights to Hugh Connerty, who expanded the concept under the name Neighborhood Restaurants, later Hooters of America. Austin's fame exploded, too. She starred in the first Hooters calendar, the 1986 edition. Then Ed Drost mailed her photo to Playboy. She was the July 1986 Playmate of the Month, with numerous videos to follow. I did travel the world with Playboy, Austin said. When I was in town, I would pick up a few shifts. The term breastaurant emerged in the early 1990s, a few years after Hooters imitators started to pop up around Tampa Bay. It wasn't one we used. We kept it light-hearted, said Drost, still not a fan of the word. Our first menu was more about making fun of ourselves. There was competitor Melons, whose bombshell waitresses served meals garnished with the titular fruit. Mugs and Jugs, whose hiring ads sought foxy servers with smiling faces. And Knockers, whose logo was a pair of breasts bursting from a bikini. All featured barely their uniforms and bar food menus like Hooters. One Pasco eatery, Penelope's, advertised its sexy vibe with a billboard proclaiming, "We don't give a hoot." Actually, they're promoting our business. We're not intimidated, Drost told the St. Petersburg Times in 1989. By 1990, the Times reported the Tampa Bay area could almost be named Hooterville. None of the imitations had the same national exposure. From 1987 to 1995, Hooters had its own time slot on cable television. Hosted by the very first Hooters girl, Lynn Austin, the show began as a way to promote the restaurant by allowing Hooters girls to introduce a different movie each week. Soon the content expanded to allow for SNL-type skits and political banter. The show was offered in 13 different markets and went through 2 name changes: Hooters Night Owl Theater and Hooters Movie of the Week. Hooters of America sponsored NASCAR driver Alan Kulwicki after he and several Hooters execs died in a plane crash. The company created a racing series in their honor. The competition of other breastaurant chains did not deter Hooters from taking risks. Hooters girls became in-flight entertainment for the short-lived airline Hooters Air from 2003 to 2006. A Hooters casino hotel hosted gamblers near the Strip for over a decade. Hooters girls brought calendars to troops in the Middle East, volunteered for Habitat for Humanity, and raised millions of dollars for causes like breast cancer research. "We got America through 9/11, said Ed Drost. All of the first responders, they flocked to our stores to watch with jaws dropped. The biggest threat to Hooters was not other restaurants, but the government. After a 4-year investigation, the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission demanded that Hooters hire men as servers, saying that the chain's policy of only employing Hooters girls was a violation of the 1964 Civil Rights Act. Hooters spent nearly $1 million on a campaign to sway public opinion, printing full-page ads in national outlets starring a St. Pete manager turned Hooters man in a blonde wig. The commission caved to the negative publicity. Hooters girls, with their charms and all-American sex appeal, are what our customers come for, Mike McNeil, Vice President of Marketing, said in a Times article. And they're the reason we're successful. Our concept is not about the serving of food. Lynn Austin, who resides in Palm Harbor, channeled her legendary status into a modeling and radio career. She praised the chain's job perks, such as volunteer opportunities and tuition reimbursement. Though it's been years since she's waited tables, she still is involved, doing radio spots and judging the Miss Hooters International pageant. She knows part of the chain's legacy includes criticism. Hooters has been accused of objectifying its employees since the beginning. In 2021, thong-cut uniforms from Hooters made a splash on TikTok. The backlash was so strong that the company reversed its stance. The new version of the shorts became optional rather than mandatory. There's going to be some women that don't have the experience as the other women for whatever reason, because we're franchised, Austin said. But these women choose to do this because it's a great opportunity. At work, Austin always felt like she was in on the joke. I never felt harassed, and if I went to my manager and said, "This guy is being a complete jerk," that guy would be gone. I think you can get catcalled or harassed when you're ordering a burger at Wendy's. It's not exclusive to Hooters. Above all, the last 40 years have given her a community. There are women that have watched me give birth, and that is not a lie, that were my sisters in orange shorts. So, tell me, viewers, do you find the chain offensive? Or do you find the humor and fun in it? Have you ever been employed by Hooters and have any stories to share? Thank you for watching, and good night.